Well, good morning. Chris Whelan here from the Center of Business Excellence, building better business results. I want to talk to you today about what I call the 5 pillars of massive profitability. If you like, it's the parthenon on which you build great profitability in your business. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of business owners, they work endless hours, they work really, really hard, but they're missing opportunities. And they're missing opportunities. Why? Because they're using what I call the standard profit model, if you like. And the standard profit model, as hopefully you would know, is how much you make in sales, less how much you spend on expenses. That gives you a profit, right? Fairly simple, fairly obvious. But what that does, it misses out on a key principle. And that key principle is what I call dividing to multiply. In the business world, in any world really, if you get down to the real details of stuff, you can see better what you're doing. And that dividing to multiply, I'm going to talk to you about, that's the principle underlying what we're going to talk about today, because ultimately that standard profit model is really the sales, how much you do in the revenue, if you like, is an outcome. The expenses are an outcome of how much, how efficient your business is, and the profit is an outcome of those two. So you're dealing with outcomes there. You're not dealing with the key drivers of the business. And what that means for your business, unfortunately, is that when you're dealing with those, you're missing opportunities in a number of areas. Obviously, you're missing out on a profit, and I'll come to that in a moment. You're also missing out, though, on being able to learn new skills. And I'm going to take you through those 5 pillars, that, as I say, that parthenon, if you like. And I'm going to show you how you can develop those skills when you break it up and you divide it down to those 5 areas, and you apply that principle of dividing to multiply. You also can't, at the sort of standard profit level, you can't really test and measure what's working, because either you've got the sales or you haven't. Either you've spent the money or you haven't. There's a bit of a binary conversation. And so you can't test and measure your marketing, for example. A lot of people say marketing is certainly your accountant will say that marketing is an expense. And if done badly, absolutely it's an expense. If done properly, marketing is an investment. Why? Because you can test it, you can measure it, you can see your return on investment, and you can know, hang on, that worked, that didn't work, stuff didn't work, put aside, stuff did work, double down. So being able to use this parthenon that I'm about to show you, it allows you to test and measure much better. Ultimately, of course, that leads you to get higher profit. Now, here's a number. I want you to think about this as you go through this video for the next couple of minutes. 61%. Let me repeat that, 61%. If you use the methodology that I'm about to teach you and do it well, do it properly, over the 12 months, let's assume you work 12 months of the year, 48 weeks or something in the year, and you work really hard, you do all the learning that you need to learn at the different levels, I guarantee you that this is a mathematically proven formula. It will give you that extra 61% net profit. And who amongst us wouldn't like that? So here's what I know. Applying the divide to multiply principle, we're going to go through that parthenon now. It'll give you more insights. It'll give you different ways to test and measure stuff, and it'll give you new things to learn. And as I say, if you apply it, the big, hairy, audacious goal is 61% more profit at the end of the year. So the 5 areas: leads, how many leads you get, your conversion rate, your number of transactions, the number of times people actually buy from you once they become customers, how much they spend each time, and then your profit margins. Let me go through that again. Leads, conversion rate, the number of times they buy from you, what I call the number of transactions, the average dollar sale, how much they spend each time they buy from you, and then the 5th area is your margins. I'm going to go through each of them quickly. Firstly, leads, right? What do you do to get more leads? Well, you could optimize your website. You could focus on your social media campaigns, or your search engine optimization in the first instance, social media campaigns. You could look at how to network better, right? So when you go to a networking function, how do you actually do that properly? You could look at doing mailouts. You could look at a whole range of areas. Talking to some clients at the moment, they're thinking of running free seminars, another way of generating leads. Right? So all of those areas, you generate leads. Now, all of those need skills. When you're looking at leads, not just at total sales, you can say, oh, hang on, I can learn those skills, or you can learn those skills. So massively important under the lead space. If you then go to conversion rate, converting is a skill. It's a skill we can teach. It's a skill you can learn. How do you do that? Well, you could attend your team. You could go on your own sales training. Your team could go on sales training. That would be a massive help in itself. You could look at things like mapping out your sales process down to the nth level of detail, so that you know at each level what's working and what's not working. The fact is, if you've got a 10-step sales process, a 15-step or 20-step sales process, doesn't really matter how many steps, there might be only 1 or 2 areas that you're really not doing well at, but you're still failing overall, right? It's almost as if you were failing in all 20. But if you fix those 1 or 2, suddenly your conversion rate goes through the roof. Of course, the third thing I would think about is building trust. Right? All of those are going to help your conversion rate. If you then look at the number of transactions, so now you've got them, you've got a new customer. How do you get him or her to buy more from you? Buy more from you more times. Well, you could have loyalty programs. You could look at regular customer engagement. How are you communicating with your existing customers? Once you've finished or bought something from you, is that it? Or do you actually treat it as a lifelong investment? You give them more than they've even paid for, because then they keep coming back to you. Are you doing those sorts of things? Do you have those programs in place? People talk about exceptional customer service. Absolutely, it's right. But there's more to it than that. It doesn't just it doesn't just finish when they walk out the door. How do you retain them? And not just as customers, but as people you engage with, people you regularly engage with. The fourth area, the average dollar sale, how do you, it's the old McDonald's thing, do you want fries with that? But how do you upsell and cross-sell? You can learn those skills. Your sales teams can learn those skills. If you're a tradie, every single person in your business should be learning how to upsell and cross-sell. Why? Because when they're on the job, they might see something. Talking to a plumber recently, they do plumbing, gas fitting, drain laying, roofing. Walked into a business and doing a particular piece of work, and they saw that, in fact, the drains weren't running out properly. It wasn't what they were there for. They looked at it, they offered help. The person said, thanks, fantastic. They got a second sale out of it. Cost them nothing. So how do you do that? You could bundle services. If you stick with the plumbing example, plumbing, gas fitting, drain laying, roofing could all come together. Depends what your business is, depends what your bundle would work like. The fifth area of these 5 pillars in the Parthenon is margins. How efficiently are you running your business? Let me ask you, when last did you review your costs? Did you do a proper audit of your costs? Working with someone recently, they hadn't done one in years, right? $50,000 of extra costs, which we found in a couple of hours of going through and interrogating their profit and loss statement, the big ticket items coming through there. So how do you do that? And how regularly do you do that? The other area, of course, in your margins is making sure you've got operational efficiency. You can learn better systems, better processes, so that instead of having to do things with, chasing your tail all the time, the systems run your business. Getting that operational efficiency right is going to absolutely improve your margins. Now, so those 5 areas, leads, conversion rate, average dollar sale, number of transactions, margins, getting them right. Here's a question for you. It's a challenge I put to you. If you worked those 48 weeks of the year that we spoke about, or I mentioned a moment ago, do you think you could get a 10% improvement in each of those areas? Typically, when I ask people that question in a live environment, they say, yes, 10%, pretty easy, should be able to do that. Here's what I guarantee, and I'm going back to that 61% I mentioned. By getting that 10% improvement in each of those areas, well, firstly, let me take one step back. Just by measuring each of those areas, each of those pillars, you will absolutely improve your business, because the old adage that you can't manage what you don't measure is true. The flip side of that is also true. What you do measure improves, you manage better. So coming back to the 61%, if you can get a 10% improvement in each of the areas, 10% in the first, 10% in conversion rate, 10% in margins, etc., I guarantee you that your business will show a 61% profit increase over the period of time, over the 12 months. Let's call it 12 months. And then you can repeat it. You can do it the next 12 months and challenge yourself to go to the next level. Now, I've run these numbers, and I've run them out over a 5-year period. Go and work this out for yourself. Over 5 years, that's a 983% profit increase. Put your hand up if you'd like a 983% profit increase over the next 5 years. Interestingly, if one looks at the revenue, so your revenue will go up by 46% in 12 months if you do these things right. And again, put your hand up if you really like a 46% revenue increase. We're facing some interesting times at the moment in the world, and certainly in New Zealand in the economy. But I guarantee you that doing these 5 things, putting these 5 pillars in place in your business, will take you forward and take you to the next level. Very, very happy to share with you. Very happy to actually have a conversation about how we can do this in your business. And if you're interested in that, jump onto my calendar, book some time. Let's have a quick 15, 20-minute chat. And there doubtless are areas in your business that you can do it, because every business everyone looks at, there's some things that we can tweak and some things we can improve. Regardless of that, I'd be as happy to do it. But regardless of that, have a fantastic week. All the very best. Keep well. Bye-bye.